Close your eyes, dear traveler. Tonight we embark on a journey unlike any other, a journey not through space or time, but through depth. We're going to descend into the ocean deeper and deeper until we reach the deepest place on Earth, the Mariana Trench, a chasm in the Pacific Ocean floor that plunges nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. Imagine yourself aboard a research vessel, floating on the calm waters of the western Pacific Ocean, about 320 kilometers east of the Mariana Islands. It's just before dawn, that magical hour when the sky is still dark but beginning to lighten at the eastern horizon. The ocean around us is calm, its surface reflecting the last stars of night like a mirror of liquid obsidian. The air is warm and humid, typical of these tropical latitudes. A gentle breeze carries the salt scent of the sea. Somewhere in the distance, we hear the blow of a whale surfacing, a reminder that even in this seemingly empty expanse of water, life thrives in abundance. But we're not here for what lives on the surface. We're here for what lives below, far, far below, in the crushing darkness of the deepest ocean, where the pressure is so intense it would instantly crush a human body, where no sunlight has penetrated since the formation of the Earth, where creatures exist that seem more alien than anything we might find on another planet. Our vessel for this journey is a deep-sea submersible, a spherical titanium capsule with thick acrylic windows, designed to withstand pressures of over 1,000 atmospheres. It's cramped inside, barely large enough for 2 people to sit, surrounded by life support systems, communication equipment, cameras, and scientific instruments. But this small sphere is our lifeline, our bubble of air and light in the abyss. We climb inside through the top hatch, settling into the padded seats. The interior smells of electronics and metal, with a faint hint of the rubber seals that will keep the ocean out. Through the small windows, we can see the research vessel's crew making final preparations, checking connections, running through safety protocols. The hatch is sealed with a heavy clang. We're now in our own small world, separated from the ocean by a few centimeters of titanium and acrylic, but it might as well be a fortress. The communication system crackles to life. Submersible, you are clear for descent. Good luck down there. There's a lurch as the crane lifts our sphere and swings it over the side of the ship. For a moment we're suspended in air, swaying gently. Then we're lowered toward the water. The sphere touches the surface, and instantly the view through our windows changes from sky to bubbles and churning foam. We bob for a moment on the surface, adjusting to the motion, and then the cables release. We begin to sink. The journey to the bottom of the Mariana Trench will take approximately 4 hours. 4 hours of continuous descent through increasingly strange and wondrous environments, each depth zone hosting its own unique community of life, each kilometer bringing us closer to the ultimate depths. Take a deep breath. Relax into your seat. Watch through the windows as the light begins to fade. We're leaving behind the world of air and sunlight, entering a realm few humans have ever seen, a realm that covers more than half of our planet's surface yet remains more mysterious than the surface of Mars. The adventure begins. The abyss awaits. Chapter 1. The Sunlight Zone, the Last Light. The first sensation as we begin our descent is one of tranquility. The churning surface quickly recedes above us, and we enter what divers call the blue, that infinite azure space where water surrounds you in every direction, where up and down begin to lose meaning, where you feel suspended in liquid sky. Sunlight still penetrates here, though it's changing. The reds are the first colors to disappear. Red light has the longest wavelength and is absorbed quickly by water. Within just a few meters of the surface, everything red appears black or gray. Then the oranges go, then the yellows. By the time we reach 30 meters, the world is painted entirely in shades of blue and green. But there's still plenty of light, and with it, plenty of life. This uppermost layer of the ocean, from the surface to about 200 meters deep, is called the epipelagic zone or the sunlight zone. It's where photosynthesis happens, where microscopic phytoplankton converts sunlight into energy, forming the base of the entire oceanic food web. We pass through clouds of plankton, some visible as tiny specks dancing in the water, others too small to see individually but giving the water a slightly hazy quality. These microscopic organisms, diatoms, dinoflagellates, cyanobacteria, are the grass of the sea, the foundation upon which all ocean life depends. A school of small fish swirls past our window, thousands of individuals moving as one, their silver scales flashing in the filtered sunlight. They flow around our submersible like a river of living mercury, each fish maintaining perfect distance from its neighbors through some mysterious sense we don't fully understand. At 50 meters depth, we encounter our first large creature, a sea turtle, an ancient-looking reptile with a shell that seems too large for its body. It swims with lazy strokes of its flippers, completely unbothered by our presence. Sea turtles can dive to depths of over 1,000 meters, but they're most commonly found here in the sunlight zone, where they hunt jellyfish and rest between dives. The turtle passes close enough that we can see the barnacles encrusting its shell, the wise, ancient look in its eyes. It's been alive perhaps 80 years, has traveled thousands of miles across the Pacific, has survived storms and predators and the countless hazards of ocean life. It regards our submersible with what appears to be mild curiosity, then continues on its way. As we descend past 100 meters, the light is noticeably dimmer, though still bright enough to see clearly. The blue has deepened, become richer, more saturated. This is a color you simply cannot see on land, the purest, deepest blue imaginable, the color of the ocean's soul. A manta ray glides past, its wingspan nearly 5 meters across. It moves through the water with such grace that it seems to be flying rather than swimming, its wing-like fins rippling in smooth waves. Manta rays are filter feeders, swimming with their mouths open to catch plankton. Despite their size, some individuals weigh over a ton. They are completely harmless, gentle giants of the sea. At 150 meters, we begin to see hints of the deeper ocean. The light is now quite dim, perhaps equivalent to twilight on land. Colors are almost completely gone. Everything is shades of dark blue fading toward black. But there's still enough light for eyes to function, still enough for photosynthesis, though just barely. A school of tuna rockets past, moving at incredible speed. Tuna are among the ocean's most impressive athletes, capable of sustained swimming at speeds over 70 kilometers per hour. Their bodies are perfectly streamlined. Their muscles generate so much heat that their body temperature is several degrees warmer than the surrounding water. They are chasing something, probably a school of smaller fish or squid, and they disappear into the blue distance in seconds. We're also beginning to see jellyfish, those ancient and alien creatures that have drifted through Earth's oceans for over 500 million years. They pulse gently through the water, their translucent bells contracting and relaxing, their tentacles trailing behind like delicate curtains. Some are tiny, barely larger than a coin. Others are massive, with bells a meter across and tentacles extending for dozens of meters. Jellyfish are among the ocean's most efficient predators. Those trailing tentacles are armed with millions of microscopic stinging cells called nematocysts, each one a tiny harpoon loaded with venom. When a small fish or crustacean brushes against the tentacles, thousands of these harpoons fire simultaneously, paralyzing the prey almost instantly. At 180 meters, we pass through a thermocline, a layer where the water temperature drops sharply. The water here is noticeably cooler, perhaps 15 degrees Celsius compared to the 25 degrees at the surface. This temperature boundary acts as a barrier for many species. Some marine life stays above it, while others stay below. We also notice that the water here is clearer than near the surface. There's less plankton, less organic debris, less of everything. The water has a crystalline clarity, and through it we can see the light from above fading to a dim glow, like looking up at the sky through deep water. At 200 meters, we reach the bottom of the sunlight zone. Below us, the water darkens rapidly. Above us, if we look up through the top window, we can still see a circle of lighter blue marking the distant surface, but it's faint now, dreamlike, almost unreal. This is the last depth where photosynthesis is possible. Below this point, no plant life can exist. We're about to enter a realm that depends entirely on the organic matter that drifts down from above. Dead plankton, fecal pellets, dead fish, all the detritus of the surface ocean. Marine biologists call this the marine snow, and it's the primary food source for everything that lives in the depths. We take one last look at the blue world around us, still visible in the fading light, still recognizable as the ocean we know from the surface. Then we continue our descent, leaving behind the realm of sunlight, entering the Twilight Zone. The real journey is just beginning. Chapter 2: The Twilight Zone, Realm of Shadows. As we pass below 200 meters, the change is immediate and dramatic. The blue light fades rapidly, becoming darker with every meter we descend. By 250 meters, it's like deep twilight. By 300 meters, it's darker than any moonless night on land. We're now in the mesopelagic zone, also called the Twilight Zone. This is the largest habitat on Earth by volume, a vast three-dimensional realm of dim light and deep shadow that extends from 200 to 1,000 meters depth and covers most of the planet. Yet it's one of the least explored environments in the world. The pressure here is already substantial. At 300 meters, it's about 30 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level. If our submersible had any air pockets, they would be compressed to a fraction of their surface volume. The titanium sphere that protects us is actually shrinking slightly under the pressure, though the change is so small we can't feel it. The temperature continues to drop. At 400 meters, it's only about 7 degrees Celsius, a dramatic change from the warm surface waters. The ocean has layers like a cake, with warm water on top and cold water below, and we're descending through those layers one by one. But the most dramatic change is the life we're seeing. Or rather, the life we're not seeing. Gone are the schools of fish, the turtles, the manta rays. The Twilight Zone is far less densely populated than the Sunlight Zone above. But what lives here is stranger, more adapted to the extreme conditions, more otherworldly. And many of them glow in the dark. At 350 meters, we see our first bioluminescent creature, a small jellyfish, perhaps 10 centimeters across, drifting past our window. When we turn off the submersible's external lights, the jellyfish begins to glow with an eerie blue-green light. The light pulses along its bell in waves, creating a mesmerizing pattern. Bioluminescence, the ability of living organisms to produce light through chemical reactions is extremely common in the deep ocean. In fact, scientists estimate that up to 90% of creatures in the deep sea are bioluminescent. They produce light for various reasons: to attract prey, to communicate with potential mates, to confuse predators, or as a defense mechanism. We turn our lights back on, illuminating a sphere of water around our submersible. Immediately we see more life. Small crustaceans, each a few centimeters long, dart away from the light. A translucent squid, no longer than a finger, watches us with large, intelligent eyes before jetting away in a cloud of ink. At 400 meters, we encounter a sight that never fails to amaze: a siphonophore, one of the ocean's most peculiar creatures. At first glance, it looks like a single animal, a long, delicate string of glowing tissue extending into the darkness. But it's actually a colonial organism, made up of thousands of individual animals called zooids, each specialized for a different function: feeding, reproduction, defense, swimming, all working together as if they were a single creature. This particular siphonophore extends for at least 30 meters, possibly more. We can't see where it ends. It hangs vertically in the water like a bioluminescent curtain, glowing with a soft blue light. The individual zooids pulse with light in sequence, creating waves of illumination that travel along its length. It's one of the most beautiful sights in the ocean, and one of the strangest. As we descend past 500 meters, we're in near total darkness. The faint glow from the surface is now barely detectable, and only when we look directly up and let our eyes adjust for several minutes. For all practical purposes, we've entered eternal night. The submersible's lights illuminate strange, ghostly fish swimming past. Many have large, tubular eyes that point upward, adapted to detect the faintest traces of light from above. Others have tiny eyes or no eyes at all, navigating instead by other senses: smell, vibration detection, electrical field sensing. A hatchetfish swims into view, one of the Twilight Zone's most distinctive residents. Its body is extremely compressed from side to side, giving it the shape of a hatchet blade. Its underside is lined with photophores, organs that produce light, which the fish uses for counterillumination camouflage. When a predator looks up at the hatchetfish from below, the light from the photophores matches the faint downwelling light from the surface, making the fish nearly invisible. At 600 meters, we encounter our first viperfish, and it's every bit as fearsome as its name suggests. About 30 centimeters long, it has a large head filled with teeth so long they don't fit inside its mouth. When the mouth is closed, the teeth curve outward like the fangs of a deep-sea vampire. The fish has a long, whip-like lure extending from its dorsal fin, tipped with a glowing photophore that it uses to attract prey. The viperfish watches us with large, expressionless eyes, then slowly swims away, its body undulating in a sinuous wave. In the deep ocean, where food is scarce, every creature must be an efficient predator. The viperfish's enormous teeth and hinged jaw allow it to swallow prey nearly as large as itself, crucial in an environment where you never know when your next meal might come. At 700 meters, the pressure is now 70 times that at sea level. The water outside our windows is so compressed that it's actually denser than water at the surface, though we can't see any difference. If we could somehow open the submersible here, the water would rush in with enormous force, and we would be crushed instantly. We're seeing more bioluminescence now. When we turn off our lights, the darkness is not quite absolute. There are pinpoints of light scattered through the water, blue, green, occasionally red, like stars in a liquid sky. Some are moving, attached to swimming creatures. Others are stationary, perhaps attached to bits of marine snow drifting down from above. One of the most spectacular displays comes from a creature we almost miss. It looks like a small worm, perhaps 5 centimeters long, swimming past our window. But when we shine our light on it, it explodes in a brilliant display of bioluminescence. It's a polychaete worm, and its defense mechanism is to release a cloud of luminous particles that glow for several seconds, potentially confusing predators while the worm escapes in the darkness. At 800 meters, we encounter something truly bizarre, a gulper eel, also called a pelican eel. It's all mouth and tail. The mouth is enormous, hinged to open wide enough to swallow prey larger than the eel itself, while the body tapers to a long, whip-like tail tipped with a glowing lure. The entire animal might be a meter long, but most of that is tail. The gulper eel's strategy in this food-scarce environment is to be able to eat whatever it can catch, no matter how large. Its stomach can stretch to accommodate huge meals, allowing it to gorge when food is available and then go for long periods without eating. As we approach 1,000 meters, we're at the bottom of the Twilight Zone. The last traces of sunlight have completely disappeared. Everything below this depth exists in absolute darkness, save for the bioluminescent glow of the creatures themselves. But we also notice something else. We're seeing more marine snow. These particles of organic debris are constantly drifting down from the productive surface waters, and they are the primary food source for everything in the deep ocean. Some creatures filter it from the water, others graze on it where it accumulates, and still others eat the creatures that eat the marine snow. We watch a piece of larger debris drift past. It looks like the body of a dead fish, perhaps a tuna, slowly sinking toward the abyss. It's already being consumed by smaller creatures, amphipods and isopods, the scavengers of the deep. Within days, it will be completely picked clean, every scrap of organic matter recycled, nothing wasted. At exactly 1,000 meters, we pause our descent for a moment. We're 1 kilometer below the surface, already deeper than all but the most advanced military submarines can safely operate. The pressure outside is 100 atmospheres, enough to crush most man-made structures. The temperature is a constant 4 degrees Celsius. Above us is the Twilight Zone, with its dim light and ghostly creatures. Below us is something even more extreme, the Midnight Zone, where darkness is absolute and the pressure continues to build. We're about to enter a realm even stranger than what we've already seen. We check our systems, confirm that everything is functioning normally, and then continue our descent. The Midnight Zone awaits. Chapter 3: The Midnight Zone, into absolute darkness. Below 1,000 meters, we enter the bathypelagic zone, the Midnight Zone. Here, not even the faintest trace of sunlight penetrates. This is a world of absolute, eternal darkness, broken only by the bioluminescent glow of its inhabitants. The pressure continues to increase steadily. At 1,500 meters, it's 150 atmospheres. At 2,000 meters, it's 200 atmospheres, about 3,000 pounds per square inch. The titanium walls of our submersible are experiencing enormous compressive forces, though they are designed to handle far more. The temperature has stabilized at around 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. This deep, the ocean's temperature doesn't change much with depth. The water is perpetually cold, hovering just above freezing, maintained at this temperature by deep ocean currents that originate in the polar regions. When we turn on our external lights, illuminating a sphere of water around us, we see that life here is sparse. The midnight zone has far less biomass than the zones above, perhaps only 5% of what's found in the sunlight zone. Food is scarce, energy is precious, and every creature has adapted to survive on very little. At 1,200 meters, we encounter one of the deep ocean's most famous, or infamous, creatures, an anglerfish. Specifically, a female anglerfish. The males are tiny and parasitic, literally fusing to the female's body and becoming little more than sperm-producing organs. The female is perhaps 30 centimeters long, with a huge head and mouth filled with translucent, needle-like teeth. Most striking is the elysium, the modified dorsal fin spine that extends forward over her head like a fishing rod. At its tip is the esker, a bulbous lure that glows with bioluminescent bacteria living inside it. In the darkness, this glowing lure attracts prey, small fish and crustaceans drawn to the light like moths to a flame. When something comes close enough, the anglerfish strikes with incredible speed, its huge jaws snapping shut, the backward-angled teeth ensuring that nothing escapes. The anglerfish moves past us slowly, seemingly unbothered by our presence. In this food-scarce environment, she can't afford to be too picky about potential meals, but she's also not interested in something as large as our submersible. She drifts back into the darkness, her lure still glowing, patiently waiting for her next meal to come to her. At 1,500 meters, we pass through a layer where the water seems to be filled with tiny shrimp-like creatures, amphipods, each a few centimeters long. They swarm in the water like insects, thousands of them, all moving in roughly the same direction. This is part of the daily vertical migration that occurs throughout the world's oceans. Every night, countless millions of tons of sea creatures, fish, squid, crustaceans, migrate from the deep waters up toward the surface to feed, then return to the depths before dawn. It's the largest mass migration of animals on Earth, happening every single day in every ocean, yet most people have no idea it's occurring. These amphipods are heading back down after a night of feeding near the surface. They descended with us but are now at their target depth, where they'll remain during the day to avoid predators. Come evening, they'll make the journey again, swimming hundreds of meters up and down in an exhausting but necessary daily routine. At 2,000 meters, we're 2 kilometers deep, over a mile beneath the surface. The pressure is now 200 times that at sea level. If we could somehow teleport a surface fish down here, it would be crushed instantly, its swim bladder imploding, its body tissues unable to withstand the pressure. But the creatures that live here are perfectly adapted. They have no swim bladders, those are useless at this depth. Instead, they maintain neutral buoyancy through other means: oil-filled livers, reduced bone density, bodies with high water content. The pressure is equalized throughout their bodies, so they don't feel crushed. We encounter a Dumbo octopus, so named for its ear-like fins that resemble the Disney character's ears. It's about 20 centimeters long, hovering just above the bottom, though we're still far from the actual seafloor. Unlike shallow water octopuses that jet around rapidly, the Dumbo octopus flaps its fins like wings, flying through the water in slow motion. This octopus is translucent, and we can see its internal organs through its gelatinous body. It watches us with large eyes, then gently flaps away, its 8 arms trailing behind. Dumbo octopuses are among the deepest living octopuses in the world, found as deep as 7,000 meters. At 2,500 meters, we encounter something surprising: a whale fall. The massive carcass of a dead sperm whale lies on a ledge of rock, its body being consumed by countless creatures. This is a bonanza in the deep sea, a massive injection of nutrients into an otherwise food-poor environment. The whale probably died at the surface weeks or months ago, then sank, its body coming to rest here. Already it's surrounded by life. Hagfish, primitive eel-like scavengers, bore into the flesh, eating from the inside out. Crabs and amphipods pick at the exterior. Even specialized worms colonize the bones, extracting nutrients from the marrow. A whale fall can support a complex ecosystem for decades. The soft tissue is consumed within months, but the bones, filled with oil-rich marrow, will sustain specialized organisms for years. Some species of snails and worms are found nowhere else, living exclusively on whale falls, somehow finding these rare oases in the vast desert of the deep. We observe the whale fall for several minutes, amazed by the activity. Even in death, this whale is giving life to hundreds of other creatures. Then we continue our descent, leaving the feast behind. At 3,000 meters, 3 kilometers deep, we're in the heart of the midnight zone. The pressure is 300 atmospheres. The temperature is a steady 3 degrees Celsius. And we're surrounded by darkness so complete it's difficult to comprehend. When we turn off all our lights, interior and exterior, the darkness is total. We can't see our hands in front of our faces. There is no hint of light from any direction. This is what blindness must be like, or perhaps what it was like before the universe was created, before there was light. But then, slowly, our eyes begin to adjust. And we start to see bioluminescence. Tiny pinpricks of light scattered through the water like stars. Blue-green flashes as small creatures dart past. A larger glow in the distance, perhaps a jellyfish or a siphonophore. The creatures here have created their own stars, their own light in the darkness. It's one of the most beautiful and eerie sights imaginable, this constellation of living lights, floating in the absolute black of the deep ocean. We watch in silence, mesmerized. A ctenophore, a comb jelly, drifts past, its 8 rows of cilia creating rainbow patterns as they refract the faint bioluminescent light. A small squid jets by, leaving a trail of glowing ink. Somewhere in the distance, a larger creature, we can't tell what, creates a brilliant flash that illuminates a sphere of water for a moment before fading. At 3,500 meters, we begin to see changes in the creatures we encounter. They are becoming even more adapted to pressure, even more specialized. Many have gelatinous bodies with high water content, making them almost neutrally buoyant and requiring less energy to move. We see a barrel-eye fish, one of the deep ocean's most peculiar creatures. Its head is completely transparent. We can literally see inside its skull. Its large, tubular eyes point upward, perpetually looking toward the surface, searching for the silhouettes of prey against the faint downwelling light, though at this depth, there is no light to speak of. The fish's brain, optic nerves, and other organs are all visible through its transparent head. It's like seeing an anatomical diagram swimming through the water. The fish rotates slowly, its eyes scanning the water above, then swims away with gentle movements of its fins. At 4,000 meters, 4 kilometers deep, we're approaching the bottom of the midnight zone. Below this depth, we'll enter the abyssal zone, the abyss proper. But already we're beginning to see signs that the seafloor is approaching, though we're still far from it. The water here has a different quality. There's slightly more particulate matter, marine snow that's been drifting down for days or weeks, plus sediment stirred up from the bottom by deep ocean currents. We're also starting to see creatures that are typically found near the seafloor, certain species of fish, sea cucumbers that have somehow been swept up into the water column, rat-tail fish with their characteristic long, tapering tails. We take a moment to reflect on how far we've come. We're 4 kilometers beneath the ocean surface, deeper than any mountain is tall. Mount Fuji, at 3,776 meters, would fit beneath us with room to spare. Only the very tallest mountains on Earth exceed our current depth. The pressure outside is 400 atmospheres, nearly 6,000 pounds per square inch. That's equivalent to having an elephant balanced on every square inch of our submersible's hull. Yet we're comfortable inside, breathing normally, maintained at 1 atmosphere of pressure. Above us are 4 kilometers of water, pressing down with unimaginable force. Below us, there's even more. We're still only halfway to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The deepest part of the ocean is still another 7 kilometers down. We check our systems again. Everything is functioning normally. The submersible is performing flawlessly, as designed. We have plenty of power, plenty of oxygen, plenty of time. We continue our descent. The abyss awaits. Chapter 4. The Abyssal Zone, the Abyss. Below 4,000 meters, we enter the Abyssal Zone, the Abyss. This is one of Earth's largest ecosystems, covering most of the deep ocean floor. It's a vast, flat plain of sediment, interrupted occasionally by underwater mountains, trenches, and hydrothermal vents. The pressure at 4,500 meters is 450 atmospheres. The temperature remains constant at about 2 degrees Celsius. And the darkness is absolute, as it has been since we passed 1,000 meters. At 4,200 meters, we begin to see the seafloor appear beneath us. It emerges gradually from the darkness, revealed by our downward-facing lights, a flat plain of fine sediment, tan or gray in color, stretching away in all directions. This sediment has been accumulating for millions of years, slowly drifting down from the surface like dust settling in an abandoned room. It's composed of the shells of dead plankton, the feces of surface-dwelling creatures, dust from the continents, even particles from space, micrometeorites that drift down through the atmosphere and eventually settle on the ocean floor. The sediment is surprisingly soft, almost fluffy. If we were to step on it, which we can't, of course, our feet would sink in several centimeters. It's been described as having the consistency of yogurt or soft mud. As we descend closer to the bottom, we begin to see life. The abyssal plain is not lifeless, despite the extreme conditions. In fact, it hosts a surprising diversity of creatures, all adapted to life in perpetual darkness, crushing pressure, and near-freezing temperatures. At 4,300 meters, our submersible gently touches down on the seafloor with a soft bump. We've landed. We're now resting on the bottom of the ocean, more than 4 kilometers beneath the surface, in a place where humans have rarely ventured. Through our forward window, illuminated by our lights, we see a landscape that's both familiar and utterly alien. The seafloor stretches away into the darkness, flat and featureless, like a desert at night. But unlike a desert, this place is home to life. A sea cucumber crawls slowly across the sediment, leaving a trail behind it like a snail. Sea cucumbers are deposit feeders. They eat the sediment, digesting any organic matter it contains, then excrete the rest. They're the earthworms of the abyss, constantly processing the seafloor, recycling nutrients. This particular sea cucumber is perhaps 30 centimeters long, sausage-shaped, moving on tiny tube feet. It's completely unperturbed by our presence, continuing its slow journey across the abyssal plain, eating and excreting, part of the eternal cycle of nutrient recycling that keeps the deep ocean functioning. We see a brittle star, a relative of starfish, perched on a small rock, its 5 long, thin arms extended into the water. Brittle stars are filter feeders, catching marine snow as it drifts down from above. This individual has probably been in this same spot for weeks or months, patiently waiting for food to come to it, conserving energy in an environment where energy is scarce. A rat-tail fish swims past our window, so named because its body tapers to a long, rat-like tail. Rat-tails, also called grenadiers, are among the most common fish in the deep ocean. They cruise slowly over the seafloor, using their barbels, whisker-like sensory organs, to detect food in the sediment. This rat-tail is perhaps half a meter long, with large eyes adapted to see bioluminescence and a mouth on the underside of its head, perfect for feeding on or near the bottom. It regards our submersible curiously, then continues on its way, disappearing into the darkness beyond our lights. We notice strange formations in the sediment, small mounds, tracks, burrows. Much of the life here is invisible, living beneath the surface. Worms, crustaceans, mollusks, all burrowing into the sediment for protection and to feed on the organic matter it contains. At 4,500 meters, we begin to move along the seafloor, using the submersible's thrusters to propel us horizontally. We're exploring, looking for interesting features, documenting what we see. We pass over a field of xenophyophores, strange, giant single-celled organisms that look like delicate lace or crushed paper. Some are 10 centimeters across, enormous for a single cell. They're among the largest single-celled organisms on Earth, and they are found only in the deep ocean. Scientists aren't entirely sure what xenophyophores eat or how they reproduce, but they seem to be abundant in the abyss. They attach themselves to rocks or shells and extend delicate pseudopods to capture organic particles from the water. We encounter a small group of amphipods, shrimp-like crustaceans, feeding on something in the sediment. When we get closer, we see it's the remains of a small fish, probably a rat-tail, being picked clean by the scavengers. Nothing goes to waste in the abyss. Every scrap of organic matter is precious. At 5,000 meters, 5 kilometers deep, we're in the heart of the abyssal zone. The pressure is now 500 atmospheres, over 7,000 pounds per square inch. That's enough pressure to compress the submersible's titanium sphere by a measurable amount, though not enough to compromise its integrity. We encounter something remarkable, a cluster of sea anemones attached to a rock. Sea anemones this deep are unusual, they're more commonly found in shallow water. But here they are, dozens of them, their tentacles extended into the water, waiting to capture whatever might drift by. These anemones are completely colorless. There's no point in having pigmentation in a place where there's no light. They look like ghosts, pale and translucent, only their movement giving away that they are alive. A small amphipod swims too close to one of the anemones. The tentacles snap shut almost instantly, pulling the amphipod toward the anemone's mouth. It's a tiny drama played out in the abyss, predator and prey, the eternal dance of life and death. At 5,500 meters, we're approaching the deepest part of the abyssal zone. Below this, we'll enter the hadal zone, the deepest parts of the ocean found only in trenches. But we're not there yet. The seafloor here is hillier, with gentle slopes and occasional rock outcroppings. We're approaching the edge of the Mariana Trench, where the Pacific Plate is being subducted beneath the Philippine Plate, creating the deepest chasm on Earth. We see a crinoid, a sea lily, attached to a rock, its feathery arms extended upward like a plant reaching for the sun. But there is no sun here, and the crinoid is actually an animal, not a plant. It's filtering tiny particles from the water, a living fossil whose relatives existed 500 million years ago. At 6,000 meters, 6 kilometers deep, we reach the boundary between the abyssal zone and the hadal zone. We pause here, at the edge of the trench, and look down. Below us, the seafloor drops away sharply. We're at the lip of the Mariana Trench, the deepest place on Earth. From here, it's another 5 kilometers to the bottom, 5 more kilometers of descent into even greater pressure, even more extreme conditions. Very few creatures can survive below this depth. The hadal zone, named after Hades, the Greek underworld, is one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Only the most specialized, most adapted organisms can live there. We're about to find out what those organisms are. Chapter 5. The Hadal Zone, the Underworld. We lift off from the abyssal plain and begin our descent into the Mariana Trench. Immediately, the seafloor falls away beneath us, dropping at a steep angle. We're descending along the trench wall, and the difference from the flat abyssal plain is dramatic. The Hadal Zone, from 6,000 meters to the deepest point in each ocean, is found only in trenches. There are only about 46 trenches in the world's oceans, and only a few of them exceed 10,000 meters in depth. The Mariana Trench is the deepest of them all. At 6,500 meters, the pressure is 650 atmospheres, nearly 10,000 pounds per square inch. At this pressure, water itself behaves differently. It's significantly more viscous than at the surface, thicker, heavier. The submersible has to work harder to move through it. The trench wall is not smooth. It's broken and irregular, with ledges and overhangs, patches of exposed rock alternating with areas covered in sediment. Occasionally we see evidence of landslides, areas where large sections of the wall have collapsed and slid down into the trench. At 7,000 meters, we're 7 kilometers deep, deeper than Mount Everest is tall. If you could somehow flip Everest upside down and place it in the Mariana Trench, its summit would still be nearly 4 kilometers underwater. The life here is sparse but present. We see occasional fish, snailfish, mostly, a family of fish that's particularly well adapted to hadal conditions. These snailfish are small, perhaps 15 centimeters long, with gelatinous bodies and small eyes. They seem almost toy-like, cute even, drifting through the water with gentle movements of their fins. But these innocent-looking fish are supremely adapted predators. They feed on amphipods and other small crustaceans, and they can survive at depths where no other fish can live. The deepest fish ever recorded was a snailfish caught at 8,178 meters in the Mariana Trench. We also see amphipods, though they are larger than the ones we saw in shallower water. Hadal amphipods can grow to over 30 centimeters long, enormous for a crustacean that's typically 1 or 2 centimeters. These giant amphipods are the top predators in the hadal zone, feeding on anything they can catch or scavenge. At 7,500 meters, we notice something strange. There are fewer bioluminescent creatures here than there were higher up. In fact, bioluminescence becomes increasingly rare as we descend deeper into the trench. Why? Scientists aren't entirely sure, but the leading theory is that bioluminescence requires energy, and energy is even more scarce in the hadal zone than in the zones above. Additionally, with so few creatures around, the benefits of bioluminescence, attracting prey or mates, confusing predators, might not outweigh the costs. At 8,000 meters, 8 kilometers deep, we're in truly extreme territory. The pressure is 800 atmospheres, nearly 12,000 pounds per square inch. That's enough pressure to compress styrofoam cups to a fraction of their original size, to implode glass spheres, to crush almost any structure that contains air. The temperature here is just above 1 degree Celsius, maintained at this temperature by the deep ocean currents that slowly circulate through the trenches. Any colder and the water would freeze, though the high pressure actually lowers the freezing point slightly. We're still seeing life, though it's becoming increasingly sparse. A sea cucumber crawls along the trench wall. A few amphipods scatter as we approach. But there are long stretches where we see nothing at all, just the bare rock of the trench wall or patches of sediment. At 8,500 meters, we encounter something unexpected, a bacterial mat. Large areas of the sediment are covered with a white or yellow film, colonies of bacteria that are chemosynthetic rather than photosynthetic. These bacteria don't use sunlight for energy. There is no sunlight here. Instead, they derive energy from chemical reactions, particularly the oxidation of hydrogen sulfide. These chemosynthetic bacteria are the base of a completely different food web from the one in the sunlit surface waters. They don't depend on photosynthesis at all. Instead, they create organic matter from inorganic chemicals. Other creatures feed on these bacteria, and the food web builds from there. At 9,000 meters, 9 kilometers deep, we're approaching what scientists call the abyssal hadal transition zone. Below this depth, very few species can survive. The pressure, cold, and lack of food combine to create conditions that only the most specialized organisms can tolerate. The pressure here is 900 atmospheres, over 13,000 pounds per square inch. To put this in perspective, if you could bring a car down here, the pressure would crumple it like a tin can. The air in the tires would be compressed to liquid. The windows would shatter instantly. Yet our submersible continues to function perfectly. The titanium sphere is experiencing enormous forces, but titanium is incredibly strong, and the sphere's shape distributes the pressure evenly across its surface. We're safe inside, breathing normally, maintained at comfortable temperature and pressure. At 9,500 meters, we encounter one of the hadal zone's most remarkable creatures, a hadal snailfish, possibly a new species never seen before. It's slightly larger than the snailfish we saw earlier, perhaps 20 centimeters long, and it seems perfectly at ease at this extreme depth. The snailfish approaches our submersible with what appears to be curiosity. It swims right up to our window, its face pressed against the acrylic, its small eyes seeming to look directly at us. For a moment, we're face to face with one of the deepest living vertebrates on Earth, separated only by a few centimeters of transparent material. Then the snailfish swims away, disappearing into the darkness. We feel privileged to have seen it. Encounters with hadal fish are rare, and each one provides valuable data about how life adapts to extreme conditions. At 10,000 meters, 10 kilometers deep, we're in truly extraordinary territory. Only a handful of human beings have ever been this deep. The pressure is 1,000 atmospheres, nearly 15,000 pounds per square inch, roughly equivalent to having 50 jumbo jets stacked on every square meter of surface. The life here is even sparser than before, but it's still present. We see a holothurian, a deep-sea sea cucumber, perhaps the deepest living sea cucumber ever observed. It's eating sediment, processing it for any organic matter, then excreting the rest. We also see a few amphipods, though they are less active than the ones we saw at shallower depths. They seem almost lethargic, conserving energy in an environment where every calorie counts. At 10,500 meters, we're approaching Challenger Deep, the deepest point in the Mariana Trench and the deepest point on Earth. The seafloor is leveling out below us. We're descending into the deepest valley in the world. At 10,898 meters, we gently touch down on the seafloor of Challenger Deep. We've reached the bottom, the absolute bottom of the ocean, the deepest place on our planet. We've descended nearly 11 kilometers from the surface. The pressure outside is 1,090 atmospheres, over 16,000 pounds per square inch, roughly 8 tons per square inch. If you could somehow bring a block of wood down here, it would sink like a stone. The pressure would compress it to the density of water or beyond. Yet we're here, in our titanium sphere, completely protected, looking out at the deepest seafloor on Earth. And there's life here. Chapter 6, Challenger Deep, the bottom of the world. We sit on the seafloor of Challenger Deep, 10,898 meters below the surface, and take in the extraordinary scene before us. Through our windows, illuminated by our external lights, we see a landscape unlike anywhere else on Earth. The seafloor here is covered in a thick layer of fine, pale sediment. It's been accumulating for millions of years, compressed by the immense pressure into a dense, firm surface. When our submersible touched down, it created a small cloud of sediment that's still settling, drifting down in slow motion in the thick, viscous water. The pressure here is almost incomprehensible. At 1,090 atmospheres, it's 16,000 pounds per square inch. To put this in perspective, if you could bring a person down here without protection, the pressure would instantly compress their body to a fraction of its normal volume. Their lungs would collapse, their bones would break, and death would be instantaneous. Yet our submersible, designed specifically for this environment, keeps us safe. Inside our titanium sphere, we're at 1 atmosphere of pressure, the same as at sea level. We're breathing normally, the temperature is comfortable, and we're sitting comfortably in our seats, observing the deepest place on Earth. And against all odds, there's life here. We see xenophyrophores, those strange giant single-celled organisms attached to rocks. They're among the few creatures that seem to thrive at these depths, and scientists still aren't entirely sure how they survive such extreme conditions. We see amphipods, several of them, scavenging through the sediment. These amphipods are the ultimate survivors, capable of living in perhaps the most extreme environment on Earth. They feed on whatever organic matter makes it down here: marine snow, dead fish, even the occasional whale fall. We see what appears to be a holothurian, a sea cucumber, though it's partially buried in the sediment, and we can only see part of its body. It's processing the sediment, eating it, extracting any nutrients, then excreting the rest. Even here, at the bottom of the deepest trench, the eternal cycle of nutrient recycling continues. Most remarkably, we see a fish. It's a snailfish, perhaps 15 centimeters long, swimming slowly past our window. This fish is living at a depth where the pressure is over 8 tons per square inch, in water just above freezing, in complete darkness except for the occasional bioluminescent flash. How does it survive? How does its body withstand the pressure? How does it find food? How does it find mates in this vast, dark, nearly empty space? The answers lie in remarkable adaptations. The snailfish has no swim bladder; those are useless at this depth. Instead, its body is largely composed of water and gelatinous tissues that are incompressible. The pressure outside its body equals the pressure inside, so it doesn't feel crushed. Its bones are reduced and flexible, providing structure without rigidity. Its proteins are specially adapted to function at high pressure. Normal proteins would denature and cease to function under these conditions. Even its cell membranes are different, with a unique lipid composition that remains flexible despite the pressure and cold. As for finding food and mates, that's one of the mysteries scientists are still trying to solve. Food is incredibly scarce down here, and fish are few and far between. Yet somehow, these snailfish persist, generation after generation, in this most extreme of environments. We watch the snailfish for several minutes as it swims slowly through our lights, occasionally descending to investigate the sediment. Then it swims away, disappearing into the darkness beyond our vision. We may be the only humans who will ever see this particular fish. We use our submersible's manipulator arm to collect a sample of sediment. This sediment, brought back to the surface for analysis, will reveal much about the chemistry and biology of the deepest ocean. It will contain bacteria, microfossils, perhaps even new species never before described. As we sit here on the bottom of Challenger Deep, we reflect on the extraordinary journey we've made. We've descended through 5 distinct zones of the ocean, each with its own unique characteristics and life forms. We've seen creatures that glow in the dark, fish with transparent heads, worms that explode in bioluminescent displays, and amphipods the size of dinner plates. We've traveled 11 kilometers straight down, through water so dark and cold and hostile that it seems impossible that anything could survive. Yet life not only survives, it thrives, adapted to conditions that would instantly kill most creatures from the surface. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface. The deep ocean, everything below 1,000 meters, makes up 90% of the ocean's volume. And yet, we've explored less than 5% of it. The deep ocean remains the largest unexplored frontier on our planet, more mysterious and less known than the surface of Mars or the Moon. Why does life persist here, in these extreme conditions? What drives evolution to adapt to such harsh environments? The answer, perhaps, is that life is remarkably persistent, remarkably adaptable. Given time and evolutionary pressure, life finds a way to exploit every available niche, no matter how extreme. The creatures here at Challenger Deep are not struggling to survive. They are perfectly adapted to this environment. This is their home. They are as comfortable here as we are at sea level. The conditions that seem extreme to us are normal to them. After about 30 minutes on the bottom, we prepare to ascend. We've documented what we came to see, collected our samples, experienced the deepest place on Earth. Now it's time to return to the surface, to the world of light and warmth and breathable air. We blow ballast, and the submersible begins to rise. The seafloor of Challenger Deep slowly recedes beneath us, returning to the darkness and silence that have been its constant state for millions of years. As we ascend, we take one last look down. Somewhere down there, that snailfish is continuing its life, hunting for food, navigating the darkness, surviving against all odds. And it will never know that for a brief moment, humans visited its world, marveled at its existence, and carried the memory of it back to the surface. Chapter 7. The Ascent, Rising Through Zones. Our ascent begins at a steady pace. The submersible rises through the water at about 30 meters per minute, much faster than we descended, but still controlled, still safe. At 10,500 meters, we're leaving Challenger deep behind. The seafloor below us has vanished into the darkness. Above us, 10.5 kilometers of water separate us from the surface and the air and the sunlight. At 10,000 meters, we're still in the Hadal Zone, still in the deepest parts of the trench. The life here is sparse, as it was on our descent, but we now have a different perspective, looking down at the depths we're leaving behind rather than up at the depths we're approaching. At 9,500 meters, we encounter a surprising sight, what appears to be garbage. A plastic bag drifts past our window, slowly sinking toward the depths. It's a sobering reminder that human influence reaches even to the deepest parts of the ocean. Studies have found plastic debris, even microplastics, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, a testament to both the ubiquity of plastic pollution and the interconnectedness of the ocean system. At 9,000 meters, we're approaching the transition zone between the hadal and abyssal zones. Life is becoming slightly more abundant, though still sparse by the standards of shallower waters. We see a cluster of amphipods feeding on something, we can't see what, but they're gathered in a tight group, suggesting a food source. In the deep ocean, where food is scarce, any concentration of organic matter will attract scavengers from a wide area. At 8,000 meters, we're leaving the hadal zone and entering the abyssal zone. The pressure has decreased to only 800 atmospheres, though that's still crushing by any normal standard. The life is noticeably more abundant. We see rat-tail fish cruising past, see cucumbers on the seafloor below us. We're still ascending along the trench wall, with the seafloor visible beneath us, and numerous amphipods and other crustaceans. At 7,000 meters, we're 7 kilometers up from Challenger Deep. The pressure continues to decrease, now at 700 atmospheres. The submersible is expanding slightly as the pressure decreases, though the change is too small to notice. We see more fish now, various species of rat-tails and eelpouts, swimming through the water or resting on the seafloor. There are also more brittle stars, sea pens, colonial animals that look like old-fashioned quill pens, and other sessile organisms. At 6,000 meters, we're transitioning from the hadal zone to the abyssal zone proper. The seafloor is leveling out. We're leaving the steep walls of the trench behind and emerging onto the abyssal plain that surrounds it. The life here is much more abundant than in the trench. The abyssal plain, while still a harsh environment, is less extreme than the hadal zone. More species can survive here, and the seafloor is dotted with life. At 5,000 meters, we're rising through the heart of the abyssal zone. We see fields of glass sponges, delicate, translucent organisms built of silica spicules that look like intricate glass sculptures. These sponges can live for hundreds or even thousands of years, slowly growing, patiently filtering microscopic particles from the water. At 4,000 meters, we're leaving the abyssal zone and entering the midnight zone. The life is more abundant still, and we're beginning to see more bioluminescence again as we rise. A large jellyfish drifts past, its bell pulsing gently, its tentacles trailing for several meters. When we briefly turn off our lights, We see it glow, a beautiful blue-green bioluminescence that pulses in waves across its bell. At 3,000 meters, we're in the heart of the midnight zone. Bioluminescent creatures are everywhere now, small squid leaving trails of glowing ink, fish with photophores along their sides, siphonophores creating curtains of light. We pass through a cloud of small crustaceans, each one flashing brightly as our submersible disturbs them. It's like swimming through a galaxy, surrounded by stars in every direction. At 2,000 meters, the life is becoming more diverse. We're seeing more species of fish, more types of jellyfish and ctenophores, more complexity in the ecosystem. We encounter a large squid, perhaps a meter long, that watches us with enormous eyes. Squid eyes are remarkably similar to human eyes, an example of convergent evolution where different evolutionary paths arrive at similar solutions. This squid's eyes are the size of baseballs, perfectly adapted to see in the dim light of the deep ocean. The squid jets away when we get too close, disappearing into the darkness in a blur of movement. Squid are among the fastest creatures in the ocean, capable of rapid bursts of speed that make them formidable predators and elusive prey. At 1,000 meters, we're leaving the midnight zone and entering the twilight zone. The most dramatic change is the light. For the first time in hours, we can see faint illumination from above. It's barely perceptible, just the slightest lightening of the absolute black, but it's there. We turn off our lights and look up. Yes, there's definitely light above us, a faint glow that marks the boundary of the twilight zone. It's still far too dark to see anything clearly, but the absolute darkness is gone. We continue rising, and the light gradually increases. At 800 meters, it's like being in a cave where you can just barely see the entrance far above. At 600 meters, it's like deep twilight. At 400 meters, it's like night with a full moon. The life is abundant here. Schools of small fish scatter as we rise through them. Jellyfish pulse past in all directions. A large tuna rockets by, probably chasing prey. At 200 meters, we're leaving the twilight zone and entering the sunlight zone. The change is dramatic. Suddenly there's real light, blue and beautiful, enough to see clearly without our submersible lights. We see colors for the first time in hours. A school of fish flashes silver. The water is blue, that deep, pure blue that only exists in the open ocean. We see the sun, or rather, we see sunlight penetrating down from above, creating shafts and beams that move and dance with the motion of the surface waves. At 100 meters, we're in the heart of the sunlight zone. Life is everywhere, schools of fish, a sea turtle, dolphins in the distance, countless jellyfish and smaller creatures. After the sparse life of the deep ocean, this abundance is overwhelming. At 50 meters, the water is bright blue, warm, relatively. It's still only about 20 degrees Celsius, and full of life. We can see the surface above us now, marked by the dancing pattern of sunlight and waves. At 20 meters, we slow our ascent. We need to decompress, not us, but the submersible systems. We need to check that everything is functioning properly before we surface, that no water has leaked in, that all systems are ready for recovery. We hover at 20 meters for several minutes, floating in the blue, watching the surface dance above us. We've completed our journey, nearly 11 kilometers down and back up again, through 5 zones of the ocean, from sunlight to absolute darkness and back to sunlight. At 10 meters, we begin the final ascent to the surface. The water is bright now, illuminated by the full force of the sun. We can see the hull of our research vessel above us, a dark shape silhouetted against the sky. At 5 meters, we can see individual waves rolling past overhead. The surface is a shimmering boundary, constantly moving, separating the world of water from the world of air. At 1 meter, we slow to a crawl. Then, with a gentle surge, we break the surface. Chapter 8. Return to the surface, reflections on the deep. The moment we surface is almost shocking. Suddenly there's air above us instead of water. There's sky, bright, blue, infinite. There's warmth from the sun. There are sounds, waves lapping against the hull, seabirds calling, the engines of the research vessel. After hours in the crushing pressure and cold darkness of the deep ocean, the surface world seems almost alien. But in truth, this is our world, the world of air and light and warmth. The deep ocean is the alien place, though we've just come from there. The research vessel maneuvers close to our submersible, and a team of divers attaches recovery lines. Slowly, carefully, we're lifted out of the water and swung back onto the deck. There's a clang as the submersible settles into its cradle, and then crew members are swarming around us, checking systems, preparing to open the hatch. The hatch opens with a hiss of equalizing pressure, and fresh air floods in. We smell the ocean, salt and seaweed and diesel from the ship's engines. We hear voices, people calling to each other, the normal sounds of a functioning research vessel. We climb out of the submersible, emerging into the tropical sunlight, and the heat is almost overwhelming after the controlled temperature inside. But it feels wonderful. The sun on our skin, the breeze in our hair, the solid deck beneath our feet, all of it reminds us that we're surface creatures, adapted to life in air, not water. The crew congratulates us. We've successfully dived to Challenger Deep and returned safely, an achievement accomplished by fewer than a dozen people in human history. But more than that, we've witnessed wonders that few people will ever see, the bioluminescent creatures of the Twilight Zone, the bizarre fish of the Midnight Zone, the extreme survivors of the Hadal Zone. We spend the next several hours debriefing, reviewing the video footage we captured, cataloging the samples we collected, making notes on everything we observed. The scientific value of the dive is enormous. Every observation adds to our understanding of the deep ocean. Every sample potentially reveals new species or new information about how life adapts to extreme conditions. But beyond the scientific value, there's something else. The deep ocean has changed us, given us a new perspective on life, on Earth, on our place in the universe. We've seen that life is extraordinarily adaptable, capable of surviving in conditions that seem impossible. We've seen that even in the darkest, coldest, most hostile environments, beauty exists. The bioluminescent displays of the Twilight Zone, the delicate glass sponges of the abyss, the stark landscape of Challenger Deep. We've seen that Earth is still full of mysteries, that we've explored only a tiny fraction of our own planet, that there are frontiers here at home as challenging as any in space. The deep ocean covers most of Earth's surface, yet we know less about it than we know about the moon. We've been reminded of our own fragility. In the deep ocean, unprotected, we would die instantly. The pressure would crush us, the cold would freeze us, the darkness would blind us, the lack of air would suffocate us. We survive there only through technology, through the titanium walls and life support systems that create a bubble of surface conditions in the depths. Yet we've also been reminded of our ingenuity. We've built machines that can take us to the deepest part of the ocean and bring us safely back. We've developed technologies that allow us to see in total darkness, to survive crushing pressure, to explore environments no human should be able to reach. We are weak individually, but through technology and cooperation, we can go anywhere. As the sun begins to set and the research vessel turns toward port, we stand on deck and look out at the ocean. It looks so calm, so peaceful, so ordinary. But now we know what's beneath that placid surface. We know about the Twilight Zone, where creatures make their own light. We know about the Midnight Zone, where fish have teeth that don't fit in their mouths and eyes that see bioluminescence. We know about the abyss, where the pressure is crushing and the temperature barely above freezing. We know about the Hadal Zone, where life persists against all odds in the deepest trenches. The ocean is not empty. It's full of life, from the surface to the very deepest depths. And every creature we saw, from the tiny amphipods to the large squid to the deep-sea snailfish, is perfectly adapted to its environment, perfectly suited to its way of life. They're not struggling to survive. They're thriving, living their lives, continuing the dance of evolution that has been going on for billions of years. As darkness falls and stars begin to appear in the sky, we reflect on one more thing: the connection between the surface and the depths. We think of the marine snow, drifting down day after day, year after year, carrying nutrients from the sunlight zone to the abyssal plain. We think of the daily vertical migration, where countless creatures rise to the surface at night to feed, then descend to the depths during the day. We think of the whale falls, where dead whales sink to the bottom and provide food for deep-sea ecosystems for years. The ocean is not a series of separate zones but a connected system. What happens at the surface affects the depths, and what happens in the depths eventually affects the surface. The ocean is one continuous body of water, from the sun-warmed surface to the freezing depths of the trenches, all connected, all part of one vast, complex ecosystem. And increasingly, that ecosystem is affected by human activity. We think of the plastic bag we saw at 9,500 meters, the microplastics found at the bottom of Challenger Deep, the changes in ocean chemistry caused by increased carbon dioxide absorption, the warming of surface waters that affects deep ocean currents. The deep ocean has long been thought of as a refuge, a place too remote and too extreme to be affected by human activity. But we now know that's not true. Our influence reaches even to the deepest places. The question now is, what will we do with this knowledge? Will we protect the deep ocean, this last great wilderness on Earth? Will we study it, understand it, learn from it? Or will we damage it, pollute it, destroy it before we've even had a chance to explore it fully? These are questions for scientists, policymakers, and society to answer. But having seen the deep ocean with our own eyes, having witnessed its wonders and its fragility, we feel a responsibility to speak for it, to share what we've learned, to inspire others to care about this hidden realm. The night is fully dark now, and the stars are brilliant overhead. Somewhere out there, similar stars shine on other planets, perhaps illuminating other oceans. But here, on Earth, beneath our oceans, wonders exist that rival anything we might find among the stars. The journey to the Mariana Trench has ended. But the memory will remain forever, a treasure we'll carry with us for the rest of our lives. Chapter 9. The Science, Understanding the Deep. Now, rested and recovered from our dive, we sit in the ship's laboratory and reflect on the science behind what we've seen. The deep ocean is not just a place of wonder, it's a place of scientific importance, a natural laboratory where extreme conditions reveal fundamental truths about life and Earth. Let's start with pressure. At sea level, we experience 1 atmosphere of pressure, 14.7 pounds per square inch, or about 1 kilogram per square centimeter. This is the weight of the column of air above us, stretching from the ground to the top of the atmosphere. In the ocean, pressure increases by approximately 1 atmosphere for every 10 meters of depth. At 10 meters, the pressure is 2 atmospheres, 1 from the air above and 1 from the 10 meters of water. At 100 meters, it's 11 atmospheres. At 1,000 meters, it's 101 atmospheres. At the bottom of Challenger Deep, at 10,898 meters, the pressure is approximately 1,090 atmospheres, or 16,000 pounds per square inch. That's over 8 tons per square inch, equivalent to having 3 SUVs stacked on every square inch of surface. How do deep-sea creatures survive such pressure? The key is that pressure is exerted equally in all directions, and liquids and solids are largely incompressible. Deep-sea creatures don't have air spaces in their bodies, no swim bladders, no lungs. Fish down there have gills, which are filled with water. Their bodies are mostly water and organic tissues that are incompressible, so the pressure outside equals the pressure inside, and they don't feel crushed. However, pressure does affect biochemistry. Proteins can denature under high pressure, cell membranes can become too rigid or too fluid, and enzymes can lose their function. Deep-sea organisms have evolved specialized molecules to deal with these problems. For example, deep-sea fish have proteins with specific amino acid sequences that make them more stable under pressure. Their cell membranes have unusual lipid compositions that remain flexible despite the pressure and cold. Some even have small organic molecules called piezolites, from the Greek paizein, meaning to press, that counteract the effects of pressure on cellular processes. Temperature is another challenge. The deep ocean is cold, typically between 1 and 4 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, chemical reactions slow down, metabolism decreases, and ice formation becomes a risk, though the high salt content and pressure prevent the water from freezing. Deep-sea organisms have adapted to the cold in various ways. Many have antifreeze proteins in their blood that prevent ice crystals from forming. Their enzymes are specially adapted to function efficiently at low temperatures. And many have very slow metabolisms, requiring less food and energy than their warm water cousins. The lack of sunlight means the absence of photosynthesis below about 200 meters. This has profound implications for the deep ocean ecosystem. With no plants producing organic matter, all food in the deep ocean must either drift down from the sunlit surface waters or be produced through chemosynthesis, the use of chemical energy rather than sunlight to produce organic compounds. The marine snow we observed, the constant rain of organic particles from surface waters, is the primary food source for most deep-sea life. This includes dead plankton, fecal pellets from surface-dwelling animals, dead fish, and various other organic debris. It may not sound appetizing, but it's the foundation of the deep-sea food web. In some locations, particularly around hydrothermal vents and cold seeps, chemosynthetic bacteria form the base of the food web instead. These bacteria oxidize chemicals like hydrogen sulfide or methane, producing organic matter that other organisms can eat. This creates oases of life in the deep ocean, isolated communities that don't depend on sunlight at all. Bioluminescence is another fascinating adaptation. As we saw, many deep-sea creatures can produce light through chemical reactions, typically involving a molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferase. When luciferin is oxidized by luciferase, it produces light. Different organisms use bioluminescence for different purposes. Some, like the anglerfish, use it to attract prey. The glowing lure draws curious creatures close enough to be caught. Others use it for counter-illumination camouflage. Photophores on their underside produce light that matches the faint downwelling light from the surface, making them invisible to predators looking up from below. Still others use bioluminescence for communication, to find mates in the darkness, or as a defense mechanism. Some squid, when threatened, release clouds of bioluminescent ink that glow for several seconds, confusing predators while the squid escapes. The deep ocean is also a place of extremes in terms of biodiversity. Some areas, particularly around hydrothermal vents, host unique ecosystems with species found nowhere else. Other areas, like the abyssal plains, have relatively low diversity but high abundance of certain specialized species. Overall, we've identified about 230,000 marine species, but estimates suggest there might be over 2 million species in the ocean, with the vast majority yet to be discovered. Most of these undiscovered species probably live in the deep ocean, which remains largely unexplored. Studying the deep ocean is also important for understanding Earth's climate and geology. Deep ocean currents, driven by temperature and salinity differences, circulate water around the globe, transporting heat and nutrients. These currents play a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate. The ocean also absorbs about 30% of the carbon dioxide we emit, helping to buffer climate change but also causing ocean acidification. Understanding how this affects deep-sea ecosystems is crucial for predicting future changes. Geologically, the deep ocean is where tectonic plates meet and interact. Trenches form where one plate is subducted beneath another. Mid-ocean ridges mark where plates are pulling apart, with magma rising to create new seafloor. Hydrothermal vents form where seawater penetrates cracks in the seafloor, is heated by magma, and erupts back into the ocean, carrying dissolved minerals. All of these processes, biological, chemical, physical, geological, interact in complex ways in the deep ocean. And we're only beginning to understand them. Chapter 10: The Technology Engineering for the Extreme. Our successful dive to Challenger Deep was possible only because of sophisticated engineering. Let's examine the technology that allows humans to explore the deepest parts of the ocean. The submersible itself is a marvel of engineering. The crew sphere, where we sat during the dive, is made of titanium, one of the strongest materials available. Titanium has an excellent strength-to-weight ratio and is highly resistant to corrosion in seawater. The sphere is about 2 meters in diameter and has walls about 9 centimeters thick. This might not sound like much, but titanium is incredibly strong. The sphere can withstand pressures up to 1,250 atmospheres, more than enough for any dive on Earth. Why a sphere? Because a sphere is the strongest shape for resisting pressure. The pressure is distributed evenly across the entire surface, with no weak points. A cylinder or cube would have stress concentrations at the corners or edges, making them more likely to fail. The windows are made of acrylic, specifically, a type of acrylic designed for deep-sea use. Each window is cone-shaped, with the narrow end facing inward. As pressure increases, it actually pushes the window more tightly into its mount, creating a better seal. The windows can withstand the same pressure as the titanium sphere. Life support systems are crucial. We need oxygen to breathe and must remove the carbon dioxide we exhale. The submersible carries compressed oxygen tanks and uses lithium hydroxide canisters to scrub carbon dioxide from the air, the same technology used in spacecraft and submarines. Temperature control is also important. Despite the freezing water outside, the submersible can become uncomfortably warm inside due to heat from electronics and our own bodies. Insulation and a cooling system maintain a comfortable temperature. Buoyancy control is achieved through a combination of syntactic foam, a type of buoyant material made of glass microspheres embedded in resin, and ballast. The submersible carries steel ballast weights that can be released if necessary to make an emergency ascent. For normal operations, variable ballast tanks can be filled with seawater or blown empty with compressed air to control ascent and descent. Propulsion comes from battery-powered electric thrusters, essentially underwater propellers that can push the submersible in any direction. The batteries must provide enough power not just for propulsion but also for all the electronics, life support, and lighting for the duration of the dive. Communication with the surface is challenging. Radio waves don't travel through water, so we can't use radios. Instead, underwater communication relies on acoustic signals, essentially underwater sound waves. These can transmit data, but only slowly and with limited bandwidth. Voice communication is possible but distorted. Navigation in the deep ocean is also challenging. GPS doesn't work underwater, so the submersible uses a combination of methods: inertial navigation, tracking position by measuring acceleration and rotation, acoustic positioning, triangulating based on signals from surface ships or seafloor transponders, and depth gauges. Lighting is provided by powerful LED arrays. These must be extremely bright to penetrate the murky water and illuminate our surroundings. We can also use different wavelengths of light. Many deep-sea creatures can't see red light, so red LEDs allow us to observe them without disturbing them. Cameras and scientific instruments are mounted externally in pressure-resistant housings. These include high-definition video cameras, still cameras, temperature sensors, salinity meters, current meters, and sampling equipment. The manipulator arm, a robotic arm controlled from inside the submersible, allows us to collect samples, deploy instruments, or manipulate objects on the seafloor. It must be strong enough to be useful but precise enough for delicate work. All of these systems must be incredibly reliable. At 11,000 meters depth, there's no possibility of rescue if something goes wrong. The submersible must be able to return to the surface on its own, even if all power fails. That's why there are multiple backup systems and why, in the worst case, we can release all ballast and float to the surface passively. Beyond the submersible itself, there's extensive support infrastructure. The research vessel must be able to launch and recover the submersible in open ocean conditions, provide maintenance and repairs, house the crew and scientists, and navigate to the dive location. The dive itself requires careful planning. Weather conditions must be suitable. High waves make launch and recovery dangerous. The dive site must be carefully chosen based on scientific objectives. Timing must account for daylight hours, for launch and recovery, current conditions, and the research vessel's schedule. All of this technology, the titanium sphere, the life support systems, the batteries and thrusters, the communication and navigation systems, represents decades of engineering development. Early deep-sea vehicles could reach only a few hundred meters. It took continuous innovation to reach the deepest trenches. And the technology continues to advance. Newer submersibles use different materials, more efficient batteries, better cameras and sensors. Remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, can now reach full ocean depth without any humans aboard, controlled from the surface via a tether. Autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, can operate independently, following pre-programmed routes or making decisions based on what they encounter. These vehicles are expanding our ability to explore the deep ocean, allowing us to map larger areas, stay down longer, and access places too risky for crewed submersibles. Yet for all this technology, crewed submersibles still have advantages. Human observers can make decisions on the spot, follow up on unexpected discoveries, and experience the deep ocean directly in ways that no amount of camera footage can replicate. Our dive to Challenger Deep was possible because of technology, but it was meaningful because humans made the journey. We saw the deep ocean with our own eyes, experienced it directly, and that made all the difference. Chapter 11: The History: Exploring the Abyss. Our dive was part of a long history of deep ocean exploration. Humans have been fascinated by the ocean depths for thousands of years, but it's only in the last century that we've developed the technology to actually explore them. Early divers could reach only shallow depths, perhaps 30 meters, limited by the amount of air they could hold in their lungs. The invention of diving bells in the 16th century allowed divers to stay underwater longer, breathing air trapped in the bell, but depth was still limited. The first major breakthrough came in the 1930s with the invention of the bathysphere by William Beebe and Otis Barton. This steel sphere, lowered on a cable from a ship, reached a depth of 923 meters in 1934, a record that stood for 15 years. Beebe's descriptions of the creatures he saw through the bathysphere's window captured the public's imagination and sparked interest in deep-sea exploration. But the bathysphere was limited. It could only go straight down and back up, couldn't move horizontally, and was dependent on the cable connecting it to the surface ship. What was needed was a self-propelled vehicle that could move freely in the ocean depths. That vehicle came in 1960, when the bathyscaphe Trieste, designed by Auguste Piccard and piloted by his son Jacques Piccard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh, descended to the bottom of Challenger Deep. On January 23, 1960, they reached a depth of 10,916 meters, the deepest dive in history. Later measurements revised the depth to 10,898 meters, but their achievement remains. The Trieste dive proved that humans could reach the deepest part of the ocean and return safely. But the technology was expensive and dangerous, and it would be 52 years before anyone returned to Challenger Deep. In the interim, exploration of the deep ocean continued using other methods. Remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, tethered to surface ships could reach great depths without risking human lives. The ROV Jason, operated by Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, has been instrumental in exploring shipwrecks, hydrothermal vents, and other deep-sea features. In the 1970s, the submersible Alvin discovered hydrothermal vents, underwater hot springs where superheated water erupts from the seafloor. Around these vents, scientists found entire ecosystems based on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis, with giant tube worms, clams, and other creatures never seen before. This discovery revolutionized our understanding of life. If life could exist in the complete absence of sunlight, relying entirely on chemical energy, then perhaps life could exist in similar environments elsewhere, in the ice-covered oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa, for example, or beneath the surface of Mars. In 2012, filmmaker James Cameron made a solo dive to Challenger Deep in the submersible Deep-Sea Challenger, spending several hours on the bottom filming and collecting samples. His expedition brought the deep ocean to public attention and demonstrated that deep-sea exploration was becoming more accessible. Since then, several other expeditions have reached Challenger Deep, including one in 2019 by Victor Vescovo in the submersible DSV limiting factor, which made multiple dives and discovered new species. Each expedition has added to our knowledge. We've learned that life exists even in the deepest trenches, that plastic pollution has reached the bottom of the ocean, that the deep sea is not a barren wasteland but a complex ecosystem worthy of study and protection. We've also learned that the ocean is full of surprises. Nearly every deep-sea expedition discovers new species or observes unexpected behaviors. We found fish that live deeper than we thought possible, discovered new types of bioluminescence, observed predation strategies we never imagined. The history of deep ocean exploration is also a history of technological innovation. Each generation of submersibles is more capable than the last, able to dive deeper, stay longer, carry more instruments. Each generation of cameras produces better images, allowing us to see the deep ocean in greater detail. But perhaps most importantly, the history of deep ocean exploration is a history of human curiosity. We explore because we wonder what's out there, because we want to understand our planet, because we can't resist the law of the unknown. The deep ocean is Earth's last great frontier. We've explored more of the surface of the moon than we have of our own ocean floor. We've mapped Mars in greater detail than we've mapped the deep ocean. But that's changing. With each expedition, we learn more. With each dive, we push the boundaries of what's possible. Our dive to Challenger Deep was one small part of this ongoing effort, a continuation of the work begun by Beebe and Barton, Pickard and Walsh, and countless others who've been drawn to the mystery of the deep. Chapter 12. The Future, What Lies Ahead. As our research vessel returns to port and our expedition draws to a close, we look to the future. What will deep ocean exploration look like in the coming decades? What discoveries await? What challenges must we overcome? Technology will continue to advance. Future submersibles will be able to dive deeper, stay longer, and carry more sophisticated instruments. Some may be partially or fully autonomous, able to explore without constant human supervision. Others may be larger, accommodating more people and equipment. We can expect to see more use of robotic vehicles, both ROVs and AUVs. These vehicles are becoming more capable, with better sensors, longer endurance, and more sophisticated AI that allows them to make decisions independently. Swarms of small AUVs, working together, could map large areas of the seafloor quickly and efficiently. New sensor technologies will reveal aspects of the deep ocean we currently can't measure. Better chemical sensors might detect trace compounds that indicate biological activity. More sensitive acoustic sensors might hear the sounds of deep-sea creatures and help us understand how they communicate. Environmental DNA, EDNA, sensors might detect the presence of species without actually seeing them, by analyzing DNA fragments in the water. Advances in materials science may lead to new materials that can withstand even greater pressure, allowing vehicles to dive deeper than currently possible. or they may lead to lighter, more efficient materials that make deep-sea exploration more affordable and accessible. We can also expect significant discoveries. Despite decades of exploration, we've barely scratched the surface of deep ocean biodiversity. Scientists estimate that we've discovered only about 10% of marine species, with the vast majority of undiscovered species likely living in the deep ocean. Many of these species will be strange and wonderful, with adaptations we can barely imagine. Some may have biochemical compounds useful for medicine or industry. Others may reveal new insights into evolution, physiology, or ecology. We may also discover new ecosystems. Hydrothermal vents were discovered only in 1977, and we're still finding new vent fields in previously unexplored areas. What other extreme environments exist in the deep ocean, supporting unique communities of life? Climate change will likely be a major focus of future deep ocean research. The ocean plays a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate, absorbing heat and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Understanding how the deep ocean is changing and how those changes affect global climate will be critically important. We'll need to understand how warming surface waters affect deep ocean currents, how ocean acidification impacts deep-sea organisms, and how changes in surface productivity affect the food supply for deep-sea ecosystems. These are complex questions that will require sustained research efforts. Conservation will also become increasingly important. The deep ocean is the last relatively pristine environment on Earth, but it's increasingly threatened. Deep-sea fishing can damage seafloor ecosystems. Deep-sea mining, which is becoming economically viable, could have devastating impacts. Plastic pollution is reaching even the deepest trenches. We'll need to develop better ways to protect the deep ocean while still allowing sustainable use of its resources. This will require international cooperation, as the deep ocean is largely beyond national jurisdiction. The United Nations is currently negotiating a treaty to govern activities in the high seas, including the deep ocean, but many details remain to be worked out. Education and public engagement will be crucial. Most people know very little about the deep ocean, and it's hard to protect what people don't know exists. Future exploration efforts will need to emphasize communication, bringing deep ocean discoveries to the public through films, interactive exhibits, virtual reality experiences, and social media. Imagine being able to dive to Challenger Deep through a VR headset, experiencing the descent, seeing the creatures, feeling the sense of isolation and wonder. Such experiences could inspire a new generation to care about the ocean and perhaps pursue careers in ocean science or conservation. Commercial activities in the deep ocean will likely increase. Deep-sea mining companies are interested in harvesting polymetallic nodules from the abyssal plain, potato-sized lumps of metal ores that lie scattered on the seafloor. Pharmaceutical companies are screening deep-sea organisms for useful compounds. Even tourism is expanding. Wealthy individuals can now pay for rides in submersibles to moderate depths. All of these activities need to be managed carefully to avoid damaging deep-sea ecosystems. The deep ocean is a common heritage of humanity, and we have a responsibility to future generations to preserve it. There's also the possibility of unexpected discoveries. History shows that when we explore new environments, we often find things we never anticipated. Who knows what secrets the deep ocean still holds? Perhaps we'll find evidence of life forms so different from what we know that they challenge our definitions of life itself. Perhaps we'll discover deep-sea organisms with unprecedented capabilities, bacteria that produce novel antibiotics, organisms that can break down plastics, creatures that can survive conditions even more extreme than we thought possible. Perhaps we'll find clues to Earth's past. The deep ocean preserves evidence of ancient events, asteroid impacts, climate changes, mass extinctions. The sediment on the abyssal plain contains a record of Earth's history going back millions of years, and we've barely begun to read that record. As we disembark from the research vessel and return to our daily lives, we carry with us memories of the deep ocean, its beauty, its mystery, its fragility. We've seen wonders that few people will ever witness directly, and we feel a responsibility to share what we've learned. The journey to Challenger Deep has ended, but the work continues. Every day, scientists are studying the deep ocean, analyzing samples, publishing papers, expanding our knowledge. Every year, new expeditions venture into the abyss, pushing boundaries, making discoveries. The ocean covers most of our planet. The deep ocean is Earth's largest habitat, and we're only beginning to understand it. The future of deep ocean exploration is limited only by our imagination, our technology, and our commitment to understanding and protecting this vast, mysterious realm. Epilogue: Into the Blue. It's evening now, several days after our return from the Mariana Trench. We stand on a beach, watching the sun set over the ocean. The water is calm, gently lapping at the sand, glowing orange and pink in the sunset light. Looking at this peaceful scene, it's hard to imagine what lies beneath. Hard to believe that if you could somehow travel straight down from here, you'd pass through zones of increasing darkness and pressure, encounter creatures that glow in the dark, fish with fangs and transparent heads, octopuses that fly through the water on ear-like fins. Hard to believe that somewhere out there, perhaps not far from where we're standing, the ocean floor drops away into trenches kilometers deep, where the pressure is crushing and the cold is intense, but where life persists against all odds. The ocean has always held a special place in the human imagination. We evolved from marine ancestors, and perhaps some memory of that origins remains. The ocean is in our blood, literally. The salt content of our blood is similar to that of seawater, a reminder of our aquatic heritage. Throughout history, the ocean has represented mystery, danger, and opportunity. It separated civilizations and connected them. It's sustained life and taken it. It's been worshipped as divine and exploited as a resource. But for most of human history, the ocean was largely a surface phenomenon. We knew the ocean as a place we sailed on, fished from, traded across. We had myths about what might lie in the depths, sea monsters, lost cities, treasures, but little real knowledge. Only in the last century have we begun to explore the ocean's depths, and what we've found is far more wonderful than any myth. We've discovered ecosystems that don't depend on sunlight, creatures that create their own light, landscapes as dramatic as any on land, processes that shape our entire planet. We've learned that the ocean is not separate from the rest of Earth but intimately connected. The ocean drives weather and climate, regulates temperature, provides oxygen. Marine plankton produce more than half the oxygen in our atmosphere, absorbs carbon dioxide, and supports countless species. We've learned that the ocean is fragile. Despite its vastness, it can be damaged by human activity. Overfishing, pollution, warming, acidification, all of these threaten ocean ecosystems, including those in the deep sea. But we've also learned that it's not too late. The ocean has remarkable resilience. Protected areas can recover. Species can rebound. With care and commitment, we can maintain a healthy ocean for future generations. Our dive to the Mariana Trench was a privilege and a responsibility. A privilege because so few people will ever have that experience. A responsibility because, having seen the deep ocean, we must speak for it, work to protect it, inspire others to care about it. The sun has set now, and stars are appearing in the darkening sky. Out over the ocean, we see bioluminescence in the waves, dinoflagellates glowing when disturbed by the surf, creating waves of blue-green light that roll onto the beach. It's a small reminder of the vast bioluminescence in the deep ocean, the living stars we saw in the darkness of the midnight zone. We think of all the creatures we encountered, the jellyfish pulsing through the twilight, the viperfish with its fearsome teeth, the Dumbo octopus flying on wing-like fins, the giant amphipods scavenging in the Hadal Zone, the snailfish living at the bottom of Challenger Deep. Each one perfectly adapted to its environment, each one playing its role in the vast interconnected web of ocean life. We think of the marine snow drifting down, the constant gentle rain of organic particles that sustains the deep ocean. We think of the whale fall we saw, death giving life to hundreds of creatures. We think of the xenophyrophores, the brittle stars, the sea cucumbers, all the small creatures that recycle nutrients, keep the ecosystem functioning. We think of the darkness, the cold, the pressure, the extreme conditions that make the deep ocean one of the most challenging environments on Earth. And yet life is there, has been there for hundreds of millions of years, will be there long after we're gone. The ocean is ancient. It formed billions of years ago, when Earth was young and hot. Life first appeared in the ocean, evolved there, diversified there. Everything that lives on land, every plant, every animal, including us, ultimately descended from marine ancestors. The ocean is also eternal, at least on human timescales. It will outlast civilizations, outlast nations, perhaps outlast humanity itself. Long after we're gone, the ocean will remain, its currents flowing, its creatures thriving, its depths holding secrets. But the ocean needs our care now. This is the moment when human activity can make a difference, for better or worse. The decisions we make in the coming decades will determine what kind of ocean future generations inherit. Will it be a healthy, vibrant ocean, full of life and wonder? Or will it be a damaged, depleted ocean, with empty seas and dead zones? The choice is ours. As we turn away from the beach and head home, we carry with us the memory of the deep ocean. We remember the descent through the blue water, the first glimpse of bioluminescence, the strange fish of the midnight zone, the touchdown on the bottom of Challenger Deep, the snailfish swimming past our window at the deepest place on Earth. These memories are precious, irreplaceable, but they're also a call to action. Having seen what we've seen, we cannot remain silent. We must speak for the ocean, work to protect it, inspire others to care about it. The ocean has given us so much: food, oxygen, climate regulation, transportation, recreation, inspiration. It's time to give something back. It's time to become better stewards of the ocean, to treat it with the respect and care it deserves. Our journey to the Mariana Trench has ended, but the work continues. The ocean awaits, vast, mysterious, essential, and it needs our help. May you dream of the deep ocean tonight. May you imagine yourself descending through zones of blue light into darkness. May you see in your mind's eye the creatures that glow in the dark, the fish adapted to crushing pressure, the life that persists in the most extreme environments on Earth. And may you wake tomorrow with a renewed commitment to protect the ocean, to learn about it, to care for it. Because the ocean is not separate from us, it's part of us, and we're part of it. Good night, dreamer. May the currents carry you gently, and may the deep ocean reveal its secrets in your dreams. The ocean remains, vast and mysterious, waiting for the next explorer, the next discoverer, the next person willing to venture into the blue and return with wonder in their eyes and stories to tell.